fuck. Already stepped right into a puddle. All right, so another thing you should be doing that I think a lot of guys, for some reason, I think it's cool to not have these straps on or something. I'm not sure where that came from, but you definitely should be getting used to wearing these straps, okay? Wear your chest strap and wear your waist strap especially. It's gonna help with weight distribution, and it's gonna help you to be able to go longer distances without feeling the fatigue of carrying your ruck just on your shoulders. The waist band is gonna help stabilize the ruck when you do trot it out, and it's also gonna keep more of the weight on your hips rather than just everything being pulled on your shoulders. So if you are rucking and you feel like your shoulders are just killing you, or like your neck is hurting you real bad, then chances are you either need to adjust the way the ruck sits on your back, you know, make some adjustments on the back. You either need to lift it up or bring it down. You've got it packed wrong, where the weight distribution isn't the way I was telling you guys to do it before, or you're just not wearing your waist strap. Most of your weight shouldn't be on your shoulders. It should be equally distributed. Okay, even right now I can feel it, that a lot of the weight in this ruck is actually sitting like right here in my lower back area. Which is nice, because it's, you know, I can, obviously I'll be able to go a lot further with weight situated on my back than just pulling on my shoulders the entire time I'm rucking. So make sure you do that. Don't, you know, it's more comfortable, man. Plus it's gonna save you in the long run, because when you are, you know, trotting it out like this, you need to have your ruck as stabilized as possible. Don't let it just be flopping around all over the place, because then you're just gonna cause injuries. You're definitely gonna feel fatigue, and everything in your ruck's gonna get all jumbled up. So strap it down, make it tight, make it situated, and then you're ready to go. Do that right before, you know, the very beginning. Before you even set out on your ruck march training event, you know, even if it's just a casual ruck march, you should have some sort of plan going out. Don't just go out there and say, I'm gonna ruck march till I feel like I'm tired, okay? Because you're always gonna feel like you're tired, and then you won't be doing yourself any good. So set a goal, all right? So today, my goal is 10 miles, and I wanna keep it at least 15 minutes or better for every mile. Okay, so I'm gonna meet the standard, and I just wanna get 10 miles in today. So I'm gonna make sure I do that. Some of you might have a hard time meeting that goal. So if you need to set lower increments and work your way up, then go out for 3 miles, you know, and try to beat whatever your last pace was last time. So if you are having a hard time keeping that 15-minute standard, then if you were rucking a 17-minute mile standard, then work towards a 16:30. Once you hit the 16:30, work towards a 16. And then once you finally get down to that 15-minute standard, then start upping the mileage. So go out for 3 miles, and now you're going 15-minute miles for 3 miles, and you're able to do that. Now you need to do it for 4 miles. And then the next time you go out, do it for 5 miles. And I recommend that you ruck at least once a week if you're trying to get better at rucking. Don't overdo it. You don't want to do it like every day, you know, because then you'll just end up injuring yourself. But at least once, twice a week. All right, if you're one of these soldiers that doesn't have an issue with the 12-miler, you know, you can meet the standard, but you're just trying to get better, because you should always be trying to get better, right? Let's say you're coming in at like 250, something like that for your 12-miler, and you're just cutting it a little close. Maybe you're training for Ranger School and you just want to be better. You want to make sure you're good. Maybe you're going to selection, all these things. Air assault. And you're just having a hard time like upping that pace. A good technique to use is ruck march intervals. So this is something that I did to train up for Best Ranger, and it worked really well. It's a smoker, but it really will increase not only your ruck time, but it's going to increase like your overall VO2 max in general. So your run time is going to get better with this too. So what you do is set up intervals where, let's say, every half a mile you're going to run, and you're going to keep a certain pace. Okay, so I think a good, you know, trotting pace if you want to call it that, running pace with a ruck on is probably around 10 to 11 minutes per mile. Okay, that should be like a good, that's a good solid trot pace. That's airborne shuffle pace. Do that for half a mile, and then your rest time, like you just, okay, I need to rest, I need to walk it out, can be more like a 16:30 pace, nice and slow walk. Do that for another half a mile, and if you average those two out, you're still going to be doing better than a 15-minute mile. Okay, so try that out. Maybe like do a 6-miler. Every half mile you're going to want to run. Try to keep at least in between 10 to 11 minute mile. Once you get to that half mile mark, walk it out. Try to keep between 16:30, and then do it again, and do that over and over for 6 miles, and you will see that doing it that way will actually increase your overall time, and you'll be doing, will decrease your overall time, and you will have rucked that faster than you would have if you didn't do it that way. Okay, so a lot of guys you'll hear out there will say that you shouldn't run with a ruck on because it could hurt your back and your knees, and I agree with that if you're not doing it right. I mentioned before, you need to have your ruck all the way cinched down, nice and tight, so it's not flopping around all over the place. Make sure it's tight. When you are running, try not to be banging your heels the whole time. Don't force your run, you know, keep it a nice stride. You need to build up to it. If you're not used to running with a ruck on, and you're not used to doing it in the right form, you're gonna end up banging your heels. So just take it easy, work up to it. You know, when you're running, it should be a nice smooth motion. See? Nice and smooth. It will work your hamstrings and your calves pretty hard, but you'll get used to it over time, and it will become natural, and you'll end up with a pretty good stride, and it won't cause any injuries as long as you do it right. You also want to find some terrain that offers a little less impact than like asphalt or sidewalk, right? So come out to the trails and do some off-road rucking. So there's a lot less impact with dirt as you're hitting the ground. Plus, it's, you know, most of the places where you're going to be tested at ruck marching it's going to be off-road. There'll be some places, like I think Ranger School was asphalt. Yeah, it was asphalt, but like this is still going to help you. It will offer you some resistance, so you'll be even better at doing it on asphalt if you train on uneven surface like this. And it'll be especially true if you can find some like soft sand. There's some out here, but if you can find some soft sand and run in that, that'll really help you with resistance training. It'll be hard for you to get your footing, so you'll work up that ankle endurance, and it's just going to make you a better ruck marcher in general if you do it on uneven terrain. Yeah, so definitely go out there, and you should be ruck marching on trails. Plus, it's just better scenery, right? Nice getaway. You should treat ruck marching as like a getaway, because you're going to be out there for a while, so you might as well try to enjoy it. That's why I like to put the headphones in and just kind of zone off, do my own thing out here, and just enjoy myself while challenging myself at the same time. That's the kind of mentality you should have. Look at this fucking straggler right here, whipping me in the face. See what I mean about these loose straps? It's bad. It's bad juju. A basic rule to live by: you should be walking the uphills, running the downhills. Take advantage of those downhills. Again, be careful, by the way, you're smacking your heels on the ground with the downhills, but take advantage of that easier, less resistance decline as you're making your way down. With that being said, if you're already kind of like, you know, pretty good at ruck marching, you don't, you know, if you're passing your 12-miler but you just want to get better, try running the uphills. Try going faster on the uphills too. I would like to say I'm like way past the just walking uphills and running the downhills. I like to just see if I can run the whole thing, to be honest. That's where you really should be trying to get to, where you just trot the entire thing. Make sure you're drinking water as you're rucking, and it shouldn't be a chug. You know, it should be just an every now and then sip. That way you're not upsetting your stomach, causing cramps. And if you're not hydrating, it's going to be really hard to catch up by the time you're dehydrated. So what I mean by that is, if you didn't take in any water and you're dehydrating yourself, by the time you get to 6 miles and you start, or 6 or 8 miles and you start cramping up on your legs, it's going to take time, even if you're chugging water, to recuperate that hydration. So you've already fucked yourself. In other words, you need to make sure you're hydrating the entire time. And you shouldn't be like training to dehydrate yourself. That philosophy is way long gone. There's not going to be any schools you go to where they're not going to be shoving water down your throat. So drink all the water you can all the time. Just drink water, drink water. Never train in a way where you think you should be training your body to use as minimal amount of water as possible. Like, that's not smart, okay? You're just going to hurt yourself. And like I said, there's no environment in the military where they're going to not be encouraging, if not forcing, you to drink water anyway. Doesn't matter if it's Ranger School Selection, aerosol, all these places. The only place I can think where I did have to deal with water deprivation really was SEER School, for obvious reasons, because you have to find your own water. But that's a whole different thing. Try to find places with uneven terrain. Hopefully you can see this. See how it's rolling hills? Check it out. You should be challenging yourself on this uneven terrain, because that's how you're going to be challenged when it comes down to game day. And even if not, even if you're finding yourself being tested with your ruck marching on flat terrain, you're just going to be that much better for it if you train up on uneven terrain. So even me going up this grade here, it's probably like a 20% grade at least. Man, maybe even more, like 45%. Yeah, I want to say it's more like 40%. Running up it, challenging myself. You can see I'm not even that much out of breath because I've just been doing this. I'm used to it. All right, we're gonna run all the way up. Oh look, and there's even a little extra hill at the top that I didn't know about. But I'm gonna push myself and make it up to that hill. All right, made it. Now I'm gonna enjoy a nice little break. It's all about the small victories, man. I would advise against taking too many breaks. If you're not going past 12 miles during your train up, then there's really no reason to like stop, you know? You should always just be moving forward. With that being said, like, I'm a big believer in you can finish a 12-miler on time with just walking it out the whole time, but I think you're doing yourself a disservice doing it that way, because honestly I think it's harder to walk the entire 12 miles within 3 miles than it is to like trot it out every now and then. You can walk most of it, but I think you need to have little spurts of running in there just to make sure you come in on time. You're not always going to have a watch on you or know how far you've gone, depending on what your goals are and what schools you're trying to go to. You know, a lot of these schools, they won't let you wear pacing watches or GPS watches. A lot of them won't have mile markers to tell you kind of where you are on your ruck. Some of them are just, you just go, you know, and hopefully you're making it on time. So I think having, the one thing that's always steered me right is just trying to go as hard as I can at all times. That's when it comes down to game day, right? So train up, you want to have a plan. You want to have goals that you make sure you meet. When it comes down to game day, if you're just at that point where you're just not really sure, or you don't have the availability to see what pace you're at or how far you've gone, and you have to guesstimate the whole time, always go with working harder rather than taking a break. Okay, you should have that kind of mindset going into these sorts of challenges. Go a little harder just to make sure you're meeting the standard. Don't risk it. Hopefully that came out making sense. If not, just, you know, drop a question in the comments or something. So I'm at about 5 miles now, and it's halfway through the 10 miler that I'm doing today, so I thought I should have my snack that I brought. Remember, these are just like the honey stingers, just cheaper. I actually think they're a little better too. Make sure you're getting your nutrition in while you're rucking, and it's kind of like with hydration. You want to get it in earlier than later, okay? So make sure you, if you can, eat something before you start rucking, and then have something with you that you can take in. Like, really, you want to do it like every 3 or 4 miles, depending on how far you're going. If you're going 12 miles, definitely 3 or 4 miles, until you can work up to it and kind of know your body a little better. I know my body pretty good, so like, I don't need to do this as much. I try to challenge myself, you know, with nutrition and go a little further. But when you're training, you're trying to get better, it's all about nutrition. You got to think, you're burning at least 150 calories per mile as you're ruck marching. And so you're just constantly draining and breaking down your body, and you need to be able to put that nutrition back in. So you really want to look for like carb sources. Don't use protein bars. Look for quick carbs. So like fruits, candies, things like that. You know, these little waffle bars are pretty good. Gels, those are the kind of things you want to put in. And the reason you want quick carbs is because, first of all, carbs are your source of energy, so you're going to feel that the most. And then the quick carbs are the best because they'll start getting into your bloodstream right away, like within 10 minutes. If you're using complex carbs, or, you know, like granola, stuff like that, that's going to take longer for your body to break down, up to 45 minutes to an hour. So you just won't feel the effects of that as soon. You're going to eat, and you're still going to be like, fuck man, I'm just still drained, what the hell is going on? And it won't catch up to you until, like I said, about an hour later. So that's the importance of fueling on the go, on the move. You don't want to wait till the last second. It's also important for performance, okay? So the more you eat, the better you're going to be able to perform as you go. So yeah, make sure you're fueling on the move every 3 to 4 miles. Eat something maybe like 150 to 200 calories, all right? And that should get you right. Oh. Might as well get some pull-ups in real quick, right? How many pull-ups can I do with it? Let's see if this is even. Oh fuck. Let's see. Oh. Okay, 3 with bag on the back. I'm happy with that. So another thing you can do, if you know, if you're getting close to your goal, your back's just starting to hurt, and you're starting to get that "oh, woe is me" feeling, like, oh, this hurts, I don't like it anymore, loosen up your straps a little bit. Sometimes you have the tendency to tighten them all the way up and keep them real tight. Well, sometimes you're cutting off the circulation to your shoulders, which causes like a soreness, like a pain in your shoulders, and you don't realize that it's just because you keep tightening it down so far. Sometimes you just loosen it up a little bit, let it hang, and if you have your waist band on, most of that weight will go down to your hips. Then you can just give your shoulders a break real quick. See how loose that is? Hopefully you can see that. I can feel it. And all the weight's sitting on my waist. like right in the lower small of my back area. I'm just pulling on my shoulders a little bit, but it's like it's pulling on a whole different part of my shoulder, so it gives the top part of my shoulders a break. And I can just walk along like this for a while with a whole different feeling and recharge the back a little bit, you know. Another good thing, y'all are gonna think I'm crazy. You see these puddles that you come across while you're rucking? Go ahead and step in them. Might as well get used to it. Get your feet wet, get them muddy, and ruck like that. Take those opportunities while you can, because if you're being tested, or if you're if you're at school or whatever, and it starts raining on you, or it's just a puddly route and you're gonna have to step in it, you might as well get your feet used to it. I can tell you, for you guys that are wanting to go to ranger school, you'll definitely be rucking with wet feet. Actually, like a good majority of the time, you'll be walking around with wet feet. So it's not as bad as it sounds if you don't know what that's like already. And it pays to train up your feet like that. See, I'm doing it this far. It's cold, man. Look what I'm doing for you guys. There, I'm definitely soaked. Train like that, man. Get your feet ready. It's not all about your back or your physical capability. Sometimes you gotta train the body up right. Goes to the same concept with forming your back to the bag. That's what I like to call it. You're forming your feet to the boots. Oh. All right. Give him a goal distance. Goal pace. Actually did a little faster than I was setting out to do, which is good. One of the last things I'll say is, when you're coming up on the end of your ruck, about a mile or maybe even a half mile out, try to push that last half mile, that last mile, as hard as you can. That's where a lot of your improvement will happen too. Just because you're meeting the time hack doesn't mean you need to stop pushing yourself. Okay, keep going, keep pushing hard. There's always room for improvement. Don't just be satisfied with what you've done. Keep pushing harder. That applies with everything in life, really. All right, last thing you want to do, make sure you have a protein shake. And if you can, find some protein or some carb powder to also put in there. You want to try to aim for at least 30 grams of protein and 60 grams of carbs after a long ruck, okay? That'll help you with your healing process. Don't get a lot of fat in. If you're gonna get some fat in there, try not to go over like 5 grams because you just don't need it. All right, so that's what you should be looking for. Put the calories back, start the healing process immediately. Plus, it just tastes good. All right, well, that's that. Hope you guys learned something. If you have any more questions, I'm sure I missed something, man. There's a lot to go over. Just drop it in the comments, hit me up. I'll make sure to answer it. Or maybe I'll make another video about, if you want me to dive deeper into a certain topic. Maybe I'll do one about happiness. I don't know. We'll see. Make sure to like and subscribe. All right? Don't forget to do that. It lets me know that you guys like these videos and I should keep making more. And besides that, that's all I got. I'll talk to you guys on the next video.